at each meeting. Business items are presented by staff or consultant. After the committee discusses the business item, the public is invited to formally comment. Each participant will have 3 minutes to speak on the topic. A couple housekeeping items. If you are joining us virtually and you are not a member of the committee, please turn your camera off when you are not speaking on an item. If you are joining us by phone, to mute and unmute microphone, press *6. With that, can I get a motion to approve the agenda with our single action item?
So move.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion, modifications we need to do? I guess. Say what? Oh, thank you. I was reminded I need to step back for a second just so we can establish our quorum. Can we do a roll call of board members? Will you? Yes, please. Thank you. Before I butcher it.
Jim Winchester,
Here.
Bob French,
Present.
Bruce Bustamante,
Here.
Mike Fenster,
Here.
Mike Rayburn,
I'm here.
Diana Evans,
Here.
Steve Horn,
Here.
Dana Klein,
I'm present.
Doug Scudder,
Present.
and Matt McKee.
Present. So we have established quorum. So we'll go back to approval of the agenda. We have a first and a second. Is there any discussion on the agenda? Are there any objections to approving the agenda? Hearing none, the agenda is approved. We do not have any minutes to approve because this is a special meeting. And we'll move straight to 5A, our action item, which is 2023-02 resolution for Seward to Glen preliminary environmental PEL, preliminary environmental linkage. And Diana, I believe this was your motion. Are you making a motion?
No, it was S.J. Klein.
Yeah, this is SJ. I'll make the motion to put this back on the table for consideration. So I guess I will move that we approve the comments on the comments as presented in that bifurcated resolution that we made last meeting.
So just to clarify that is we have a resolution that was an agenda item, and if those of you that have the attachment, it is page 2. So just so we don't deviate to any public process that we sent out the notice of the motion, just to clarify, you are moving the motion 2023-02. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. So I'm moving the CAC approve 2023-02.
Perfect. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay, now into the fun part. So we'll enter into discussion. And SJ, as the maker of the motion, would you like to speak on it first?
Sure, I'd be happy to. I'm on my way there right now. I had my vehicle had a dead battery, but yeah, I don't mind talking and driving, and then when I show up, we can continue the discussion. These comments, I made the comments or proposed the comments before before kind of their final documents had come out. They have a purpose and need that's been that's come out now, and other documents. At the time when I wrote this one up, so this is really just in response to to a previous document that had come out over the winter. I think it's the performance report. So I think the comments are still pertinent. I will be bringing some more comments related to the purpose and need at our next scheduled CAC meeting. So that's really all I want to say about that. Happy to go through individual items, but I think we can. I'd rather do that when I'm in the room in about 5 minutes. So
Go ahead, Mr. Stewart.
Just minor changes. There's some edits on number 5, 6, just some typos.
What what are the typos?
Capitalization of, street names and the corrections of, street names.
Well, is there any objections to fixing those capitalizations, and we can dot our i's and cross our t's if we do approve this motion? No intent changes. You're responding, okay. So I can't see who's in the queue. Do we have any other discussion on this motion?
So historically, then, the reason we're having this special meeting, as I recall, is we were going through a plan and we're given this as part of a plan to look at, to say yes or no. So our objective today is to say yes or no to the resolution. I want to have a quick reminder of why we're looking at this resolution. And maybe when SJ gets here, that would be a better time for that.
Do you have any other individuals with our, do you have anything additional? You want to wait till, okay. Is it okay to ask staff their input?
As to why we're here,
Do you have any comments that you'd like to make about this resolution?
well, I did get an email from Kevin Jackson on Friday responding to a number of the items brought up here. Unfortunately, I was out of the office Friday and Monday, so I didn't get a chance to forward this on to the committees for your review. Kevin did do a very lengthy response to most of the items, I think all of the items actually, 15 of the items in this resolution. So I can forward it on to you guys now, but it's kind of while we're in the middle of it. So
We just so happen to have Kevin here.
And I've got copies.
Oh,
so
man.
I just wanted to be upfront and let you know, I dropped the ball on this and I apologize. I did not get this email.
We may or may not forgive you, Aaron.
I'm sorry.
I think the public's offered that opportunity to comment. We could use that as his comments.
So I think SJ is walking in the door. Am I correct?
Can't
Maybe-
see him yet. I heard the door open.
Yeah, I'm just in the parking lot now, so.
So what I would like to do is wait till SJ's in here, since he's the maker of this motion. Then I would like to have give the opportunity for Kevin to give explanation or give answers to a lot of these points that have been brought up. And we can go from there if there's any objections to that plan. Hurry up, SJ.
I'm not sure.
Can we get maybe that put onto the people that are on phone can see them? See the comments?
Let me forward them to you, Christine. Well, this is my account.
Maybe take a few minutes recess.
I'll forward it to you.
We're gonna take a few-minute recess.
Let them put this on. I mean.
I'm here.
Obviously took a lot of time to do this, so it's,
I just
With the team effort.
all right. So,
There you are.
There we go. Thanks, everybody.
Good. I want to get
Try taking breath.
My question is, do we want to look at the response before we decide?
So hold on, we're not,
Oh, we're not.
yeah. All right, so we're back on record now. We're talking. SJ, we said that you'd have the opportunity to have the floor. Would you like to speak with your concerns before we move to Kevin?
Sure, and I mean, I haven't had a chance to review Kevin's comments, and I really look forward to that, so thanks for putting that together. But I guess with the Pell, the Pell process, I guess there's an issue where, ultimately, there's an issue where kind of state DOT intent for how a Pell process should go is arguably different than kind of what's in the federal enabling legislation and what kind of the community, larger community, and possibly AMATs as well, kind of expects the process to be and include. And kind of our, as the Fairview community, the community's frustration with the process is understandable. But one of the things that we've heard a lot from staff, and it's a fair, it's a fair statement, is that you can't expect Appel to fix everything. But I do know that what you measure and what you track is what gets resolved. And so a lot of the comments from the public, now that we've had the chance to see the public comment and response, which is voluminous. I mean, it's hundreds of comments, really. Is that there's a real problem in the Seward Glen corridor in that it's a densely residential and, more importantly, a dense pedestrian corridor as much as it is a federal interstate highway. And a lot of the metrics that are in the documents that come through this Appel process so far, as a classic example, there's a focus on vehicle miles traveled as opposed to, say, person miles traveled. And, if you're measuring vehicle miles traveled, the shorter distance, the faster you can get somebody through. But also is, how many, what are you doing? I guess it ignores, the heavy pedestrian usage of the corridor. And it also kind of deprioritizes the uses of the corridor that do not involve vehicles. And that's kind of, I think that's where, as a community, we're butting heads with DOT engineering in this Appel process. They're the ones who hold the purse strings for HDR, the contractor. And we've got just a difference of way of looking at the problem. And which basically, ultimately, I think it's going to result in different solutions. And so that's a lot of these comments are geared towards that, taking the document that came out, over the fall, and using that to, basically trying to steer the process more towards the things that our community sees as real problems. I mean, where DOT will report an intersection as being a high priority intersection because of the number of accidents in an intersection at a specific site, we'll see, we'll see kind of more of a corridor. For instance, if somebody gets their legs, the guy who got his legs blown off at 15th and Ingra, that, his legs got blown off on 15th, and even though he was crossing Ingra, that ended up being considered an accident on 15th, on the 14th, or on the 15th block, on the Ingra block of 15 versus, something that happens half a block further down Ingra is kind of considered a whole separate thing. And so, yeah, we're just kind of, as a community, really trying to kind of align our focus with the focus of DOT engineering, and trying to grab as many things as we can to do that. And so that's what a lot of these comments are kind of here. So.
Thank you, SJ. Mr. Finster, did you have a comment before we move?
Well, I wonder if we even want to consider looking at these responses before we decide is a resolution what we're going to vote on today or not. Because I thought that was the intent of the meeting, was to say, are we passing the resolution or not? Not expecting to get a lengthy document of responses.
So what I would say is that's a formal action. If someone takes formal action, we'll move from there. But as we have it right now, we'll move to Mr. Jackson to have the opportunity to explain these items.
Okay.
If I hear a formal action to go a different direction, then we can go that direction. But as of right now, the motion is still on the floor. And so we're trying to get as much comments and understanding of the resolution. But I do hear you, it is nice to have these kind of comments before a meeting like this. But it is what it is. We're gonna do the best with it that we can.
And the one issue as well too, I mean, this, you know, there's a number of documents that are referenced in the resolution that were released, you know, basically the night before our meeting last month. You know, and so we may want to reconsider, you know, like for instance, you know, saying you can't really eliminate alternatives if you don't have, you know, public process that's been, you know, there's a lot of stuff that's in here that, yeah, like I said, I wrote before all these documents were released. So we can go into it and amend as needed as well. So,
Okay. And with that, just for clarification, Kevin Jackson is the preliminary design and engineering chief and representing DOT, just so everyone is aware. Are there any other committee members wishing to say anything before we move to Mr. Jackson? Hearing none. Mr. Jackson, you have the floor.
Well, thank you for allowing me to speak. I would like to say our health process is following our adopted guidebook. We have a guidebook that was put together by HDR, as a matter of fact, following federal guidelines and stuff. We are sticking to that. We're just getting started in this thing. Like you said, there was a lot of comments. We are behind, and it's just the way it is. It took a long time to get through all those comments. And we made a lot of changes to purpose and need and stuff based on those comments. I think your point is well taken that this is dated. The resolution is dated. I would recommend that you read these responses. I did not, many of the responses have had to be written by the expert to do the model. I'm an expert. But anyway, I think if you go through there, like this draft, the travel demand model, that kind of report is specifically for vehicles and not non-motorized pets and bikes and stuff. And so that's why it really doesn't talk about that. And that's discussed in here. One of the reasons we're a little bit behind, I think you all know that we're having a workshop, 2 workshops, I think on the 28th of this month. We're actually, there are no alternatives selected yet. That's the point of the workshops, is to get people in the room and start discussing it and come up with some alternatives that can be, you know, analyzed further. The intent of this workshop, or these workshops, is going to be just fat lines. You know, what do you think? You know, we've got a problem here, and that is we've got an interstate highway going through the middle of downtown. And, you know, I think that options that we, you know, my hope at least is that we come out of these workshops with some alternatives that, you know, change that. Because we got conflicting uses. You don't want pedestrians and bikes near a high-speed facility, not that it's high-speed downtown, but, you know, it's conflicting uses. And so, you know, we're hoping that we can come out of here with some ideas that will allow the separation of the 2 uses. You know, we may not be able to fund that right away, but we got to have a plan. You know, ultimately, we got to have a plan. Otherwise, it'll never get done. But yeah, I really think you should take some time and go through these and then you know, modify the resolution however you see fit then. But you know, there are some. It was written before a lot of the stuff was made available. But
Quick question for you, Mr. Jackson.
yes,
What is the time frame that the Pell has to be completed by?
there's no real deadline, but we're trying to we're trying to complete it, you know, within like 2 years. And the important part is to try to get funding for projects within a short time after that, like within 5 years. The beauty of Appel is we're doing a whole lot of the process that would be done going through the normal NEPA process. And so the idea is that we can take that stuff and roll it into the formal NEPA process of whatever projects come out of this. And there could be multiple projects, you know, I think the ultimate solution we may not be able to afford for a while. But, you know, maybe we can come up with some interim solutions that will make improvements, but not, you know, cost too much.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. So I can't see the screen of what commissioners have their hands up. No one? Is there any formal moves to,
I did have one more question.
go ahead?
I guess one of my comments, or one of the comments that were in the model, I haven't read the part where you responded to it yet, was about, like the Fairview neighborhood is kind of split into two different sections for the modeling. I don't know if you can speak to this or not, but and so kind of, it's a, like, if you're going from, you know, from the side closest to Merrill, so say Oregon 13th across to Denali 13th, like let's say a kid going to Denali or something. As I understand it, that's considered inter-district or cross-town traffic. Is that accurate?
I can't speak to that. What the response does say is the model is based on traffic analysis zones from the adopted AMAS model. The zones are sized to support reasonable estimates of travel demand given the density of the roadway and transit networks. Plus, you can read it. Let's see. I think he goes on to say that it's split between a number of what he calls TACs. There's more than 2 dozens, he says. And again, I'm not the expert. We hired those guys.
Yeah, so I do want to interject right here. So I'm not speaking in favor for the resolution or against the resolution, but I do want to point out that there was considerable time put in these answers to specific points on this resolution. And I would urge maybe, what was the word? Postponing this resolution and have all committee members being able to review.
You see, I would actually argue the opposite side of that. I think it's worth taking out the parts that are dated. So, you know, the parts where we're saying basically that you can't continue, you know, where, for instance, where's the date of the resolution? That these things have not yet been released, but we're making comment to the Pell process. They're responding to those comments, and that then can become part of public record, which is also part of the Pell process. So we're just contributing to the Pell process and giving them something to respond to.
So are you moving to amend this?
I will move to amend the resolution. That's what I would rather. I would move to delete, jump through real quick. All right, whereas. All right, I would delete whereas of the date of the resolution, AKDO TPF has not yet released the comments and responses for prior planning documents. And then actually that's all I would really do is remove that and then still submit the comments really.
All right, so you move to amend to remove the whereas. And maybe in the future, it'd be really nice if we had numbers on our resolutions that we could reference line items.
I apologize, this was my first.
No, it's all good. It's just nice for when we do this kind of stuff. So do I have a second?
Still trying to find which whereas it is.
It's the one
How
here.
many down?
Fourth from the bottom.
Yeah.
Fourth up from the bottom.
How about that? Fourth up from the bottom.
Oh, from the first page.
On the first page, it'd be the.
According to the schedule
For
published.
those of us that are
no.
online, we can't see what you're talking about.
That's very good.
I'm sorry.
Just here, I can show you.
No, I'd rather you just.
Okay,
We have to describe it.
Right, okay, everybody's
Other
listening to
people
this, the
think
first,
that's
second,
it.
third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, the 10th, whereas. I say we can delete that.
Whereas the date of this resolution, AK-DOT-PF, has not yet released the comments and responses from the prior planning documents and.
Yeah.
Okay. So do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. All in, this is where we have one. Are there any objections? No, we're gonna do a roll call, just to. Let me get the names out.
Voting on the amendment.
We are just voting on the amendment to remove the, whereas the date of this resolution. Scooter, how do you vote?
Yes.
You're voting yes.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Klein,
Yes.
Mr. Horn,
Yes.
Ms. Evans,
Yes.
Mr. Reberg,
Aye.
Mr. Fenster,
Yes,
Mr. Bustamante,
Yes.
I think Ms. Rinky is gone. Mr. French,
Yes.
Mr. Winchester,
Yes.
yes. So it passes, so that whereas has been removed. So we're back onto the original motion here. Do we have any other comments or formal motions before we take vote?
I mean, I would put the question to Kevin, and if you'd be up for answering. Is there any reason why we couldn't, as a commission, put these comments forward for, basically, which way things to the Pell project?
No, there's no reason. In fact, you don't have to make a resolution. If you guys have questions or comments, take any time. Great.
Do we have anyone online wishing to speak? Hearing none, we will be voting on the motion. Mr. Scooter,
Yes.
Mr. Klein,
Yes.
Mr. Horn,
Yes.
Ms. Evans,
Yes.
Mr. Reberg,
Yes.
Mr. Fenster,
yes,
Mr. Bustamante,
Yes.
Mr. French,
Yes.
Mr. Winchester,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Next, the comments are, well, we have moved the resolution to the TAC, correct? Okay. And with that, I'm gonna go back to our agenda. That concludes all of our action items. Do we have any committee comments?
Are we going to get a copy of the comments from DOT that they responded to the resolution? The one that's on the screen or was on the screen at times?
No. Are you referencing what DOT responded to our motion, or are you?
Yeah, the write-up that, I forget his name.
Yes, it will be sent out to all committee members for review.
Okay, great.
Do we have any other questions or comments? Hearing none, we'll move to public comments. Do we have any public members wishing to speak? Hearing none, can I get a motion to adjourn?
to adjourn.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
We're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.